morning, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you, as always, for being true believers. I'm so happy to have you here. I have this talk that I give in the beginning of an engagement called All 1-Hour Meetings Must Die. I think I'm going to rename it to All Meetings Must Die. And here's why. Really ask yourself, when you try to find people, especially in the beginning, you're trying to orchestrate and get people together and start working. You're forming the team. You got a lot of work to do in those beginning phases, so people need to be together for longer periods of time. And as you're trying to get people together, especially as you're trying to get senior people in the room, you tell me if you run into this problem. Their calendars are locked, completely blocked, every hour of every day for usually common is 2 weeks. Exceptional circumstances, you'll see people who are booked a month out. But almost everyone in the organization, your PMs, your BAs, your developers, and so on, if you look at their calendars for the next 2 to 3 days, they're usually locked up with stuff. Try asking someone in person, hey, when can I have some of your time? And they'll say, next couple of days are pretty busy. I'm pretty loaded up with meetings. Well, what do meetings do? If you've ever heard my episode on ing things versus done things, how often do we get together in a meeting and actually walk away with deliverables? If you do, good for you. Those are called workshops or working sessions in my view. But a traditional meeting where we sit down with an agenda to talk about things and to resolve things and discuss things, in general, are not only not productive, but they almost always don't need to be an hour long. There's some traditional wisdom, I didn't write it, I wish I did, that says that work expands to fill the container that you put it in. So if you create a 2-hour meeting opportunity, people will take exactly 2 hours to come up with the outcome, maybe more. Well, here's another bent on that theory. If you give them 15 minutes, will they still get it done? Actually, they might. There are some circumstances where more people need to be at the table, longer discussions need to happen. But let me ask you this question. Next time you go to a 1-hour meeting, watch carefully. Tell me what percentage of the people talk or participate for more than 5% of the meeting. The chances are good it's less than 20% of the people. Everyone else is just kind of there observing, taking notes. In general, let's be honest, checking their phones, doodling on their notepads. Or my favorite, they're drifting off to sleep. You watch their eyelids flutter as they float away into dreamland. Guys, you can't tell me that this is an efficient use of time. But try taking it away and watch what happens. Watch the extent of people shake their heads, defend it, and say, we can't lose this meeting. We need this meeting. Well, why do we need this meeting? And how much is the guy who's snoozing in the corner? How much is he contributing? Tell me he has to be here so he can snooze? What does that do for you? There's no good answer for that, right? So what do? You've heard me say this a million times probably, but all default meeting length should be 30 minutes. Because even in the most corporate cultures, people don't show up till 5 after, and they want to leave at 25 after so they can miraculously show up 5 minutes late for their next meeting. So that really gives you about 20 to 25 minutes of actual productive work. In my mind, if you can't resolve what you need to resolve in 25 minutes, something is up. Next question you should ask yourself is who really needs to be here? Who adds value? Who's contributing? Look around the room, and once again, inventory how many people are actually contributing. Because if they're just there to observe, wouldn't it be easier to send a summary of the meeting notes to those people? Would that not work as well? They could absorb the information, the key concepts, the takeaways, in less than 5 minutes. I always say it like this. If you want to stop setting the company's money on fire, which, let's be honest, is one of the reasons why you're probably helping a company adopt Agile in the first place. Somebody somewhere told them that this will save them time or save them money. So they're interested in saving money. Who isn't? They're interested in becoming more productive. Who wouldn't be? So this is one area where you can start making cuts right now. I'll go one step further and say unless it's an actual working session, unless we're sitting face to face and pair programming, banging through some requirements, writing some stories, doing some testing, unless we're doing meaningful work together as a team, it shouldn't be a meeting. The two people who are doing 80% of the talking can go and work together and resolve what they're going to resolve, probably in half the time or less. The people who are falling asleep in the meeting can just get some summary notes from the people who actually participate and create value. If you really think about it, the resistance to shortening or eliminating meetings altogether comes from a place of saying, this is the way we've always done things, and we think it's working because the building's not on fire. But that's not a good enough reason to keep on doing what you're doing. Just because the boat's not sinking doesn't mean that there isn't a problem with the way you do things. Doesn't mean there isn't a way to get better. So try this. Be an advocate for the shorter meeting. Book your meetings in 15-minute increments. If people send you a 1-hour meeting request, politely decline. Or say I can attend for the first half hour or the last half hour. But if you're in charge of meetings, I'm hoping that you never book 1-hour discussion sessions for anything. Once again, something to think about. Can you help companies break their mindset of we must do this because it's the way we've always done it? But when they're pressed about why they do it and how it adds value, they can't give a good answer. These are great opportunities to change, to make improvements, and ultimately to help your client and customer. Guys, thanks for being true believers. Once again, you can find me online at badassagile.com, on Twitter at badass_agile, and on Instagram at badassagile. Can't wait till next time. Until then, stay badass.